Hey guys, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whenever you're watching. My name is Travis Compton, and today, as promised, we're going to be making our dashboard from the previous video, this one, look nice, and eventually like this final product right here. So let's get into this. Again, here's our basic dashboard that we created in the last video. If you're wondering how we got this particular histogram, I'll probably put a link in the description. But let's dive into this. So, little paintbrush roller right here, this is going to be where all of our formatting tools are going to be. This is how we're going to make things look from basic right here to nice. Now, the first thing I'm going to do, because it's the second option, is I'm just going to turn off the legend. I don't think there's any need for a legend in this case. Like most things, or most things in analytics, there is a time and a place for everything. This is not one of those times for a legend. There's no need for it. Next, I'm going to come in here to the x-axis. You'll see right here we have a start and an end. This is obviously going to be when the x-axis begins and when it ends. We'll have some of these outliers right over here and then maybe a little bit right here. So I'm actually going to just cut those guys out. So we're going to have it start at 19 and end at 40. I think this just makes the graph look a little more nice or nicer. It's more compact. There's no outliers stretching it out. And I'm actually going to do the same thing with the y-axis. I just think it looks a little nicer if I stretch it out a bit. And these are obviously up to you. These are all cosmetic ideas that I think just make it look good. And that's what this is all about, right? Making it look good. So we're going to come to the background now. And picking a background color or contrasting colors can be difficult. Now, I would highly recommend not trying to find colors that look good by just randomly selecting. There's so many websites out there that will give you these color codes right here that look really good with one another, which is exactly how I got these colors and exactly how I get all the colors for the dashboards I make. So keep that in mind. So we're going to do the background, this black color. I'm going to close that up. Then we're going to come over here to our data colors. And you'll see here we have average of or this is our distribution curve rather, and this is our histogram. So we're going to make this yellow. Now our average, or excuse me, our distribution curve, we could have this be yellow as well, but I don't think it looks good. I think it's a lot of yellow. And really the idea here is you want a second contrasting color to black that also works with yellow. And thankfully black in this might be why we chose black for our background color. It has a lot of contrasting colors. So we'll do this silver right here. I think it makes it look a lot nicer. Now we've done that, let's just go to these cards really quick. Just so our whole dashboard looks a little uniform, we're going to do essentially the same thing. Go to the background, give it that black, and since we can't see anything suddenly, we're going to need to go to our data labels. Yellow, obviously the same exact colors. Close that up. Okay, cool. And we'll come back to these cards. You'll see. We always do, I feel like. I always talk about the cards. So let's expand this out just so we don't have any like these random white spaces. So let's go back into our graph because we obviously still have a lot of work to do. We have no X or Y axis, it looks like. Click into there, click into the X axis. Now let's go and change the color to yellow. This is going to be our numbers. Increase the size so everyone can see it. Okay. And our title color, we'll make it yellow as well. And MPG underscore highway, it's okay, but if we're presenting, let's just cover all our bases. I think it looks just a little nicer if we rename that. Even if it is the exact same thing, I just think highway miles per gallon looks nicer. Increase the size. Cool. There we go. So our x-axis is done. We'll move on to our y. And we're going to do the same thing. Change the color to yellow for our numbers. Increase the size. Change our title color. And it's good to note here, it's count of type, but we did throw a filter on this page here. You'll see right here, we have a filter for sedans. So we obviously want to make sure this is represented correctly. So instead of count of type, we're just going to change it to count of sedan. I'll increase the size again to match the x-axis. Next here, so okay, before we get into this, or I have to mention this. So we have a second y-axis actually, and this is because of our distribution curve. Now, I don't think there's any need for this, so I want to get rid of it. So we actually have to come in here and turn on the show secondary, which seems counterintuitive. But regardless, we're going to get rid of it. So we're actually going to make the color right here. We're going to make it the same color as the background so it just blends in. And last but not least, this is the title. You can't see it right now because it actually already blends into the background, but we're going to turn it off. It's just going to give our graph a little extra room just to expand out a little bit. And there we go. Our y-axis is taken care of. You can mess with the grid lines too here, but like a lot of things, the default I think looks a lot nicer than most. So the last thing we really need is a title. Let's come in here and make it yellow as well. And let's center it and increase the size. Yeah, there we go, just so everyone knows what we're all about. Lastly, count of type and average of ND underscore highway by MPG underscore highway. Doesn't exactly roll off the tongue, so let's change that and just talk about what this is. This is the distribution of miles per gallon highway by sedan. There we go. Short, sweet, to the point, so everyone knows what we're looking at here. And lastly, just to add a nice little bow to this, as I mentioned earlier, we're going to come back to these cards. So I'm going to resize these because we're going to give them some friends. Copy and paste. And because I deleted those outliers or cut off some of those outliers, I'm going to have them represented through these cards. So we're going to have a minimum and a maximum since we cut off both from the left and right side. So our minimum values and our maximum values. So we're going to have those there just in case anyone's curious if there are points that exist beyond here. And we're going to do one last one just to fill in that space. And I'm just going to do a count here. Just so we can say, hey, we've got this much data backing up this histogram. And just because, for fun, again, this was all about, for me, getting to do this part of the visualization, I think, is one of the more fun parts after you've already explored the data. We're just going to add even more contrasting to this. Come in here. Let's go to our background. And there we go, guys. And it is simple as that. And I obviously sped through this pretty fast, and there are obviously so many more things you can do with Power BI when making your dashboard look nice. And these are just more things that I will get to explore with you guys in the future. And I'm so excited to do that as I'm still learning Power BI myself. But this was like a dashboard I actually made during my internship, and I really liked it. And obviously, this event is what inspired this video altogether. And overall, I think it looks really nice. I mean, especially when we go back to this compared to this, I think this looks just so much more nice. And again, like my boss always tells me, it's not the data that sells, it's the pretty pictures. So obviously, showing this to a client or a boss isn't going to have the same effect as this. So we obviously want something really nice like this. But before I ramble too much, guys, I'm going to stop right there. Please like, subscribe, or comment on the video, or don't. It's cool with me. And hopefully this helps at least one of you guys out there, because I know there's some people out here that are like trying to pick up Power BI or trying to pick up visualizations and making it look nice. And if you like this video, thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. So anyway, again, I'm already rambling. I'll stop right there. You guys have a good night. Bye.